Cingari here with another edition of the Must Love MMA show. And joining me today is Georgi Karakhanyan. Georgi, you got a big fight coming up at Bellator 182 against Daniel Pineda on Friday, August 25th. How's training camp going? I found some cool video of you doing some crazy balance work. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, training's going good. I've been using the balance board a lot. It helps me with my balance, and it also helps me about balancing my life. So the training is going really good. I'm just ready for this fight. I waited too long, but here I am. I have a date, an opponent, and it's good. I'm waiting. I can't wait.
Who were some of the folks that you're training with this camp around?
This camp, I train with Saeed Awad, Lawrence Larkin, Cub Swanson, Arnold Jimenez, and, way too many guys to mention, but those are a few I remember.
Now, how do you think you match up stylistically with Pineda?
We match up really good. I think we both have a lot of fights under our belt, and I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a good stand-up war. And, I just can't wait to throw it down with him.
So what can fights, you just mentioned the slugfest war, which is what I was thinking as well. What can fans expect to see when they tune into the fight then?
When they tune in, they could expect a lot of blood from either of us. I don't mind bleeding. But other than that, it's going to be an exciting fight for all the fans out there in New York and for all the people that will be watching us. This is going to be a great fight to watch.
I got to ask you, and it's no disrespect to Bellator matchmaking, but do you feel like you're a little bummed out that this fight is not on the main card?
Of course. I mean, I'm losing about $9,000 in sponsors. So, if you expect me to make that money and all of a sudden they put you on a prelims and they put two girls with a 3-1 record, which is ridiculous to me, on the main card, of course you're not going to be happy, but it is what it is. They're going to do what they're going to do. I give zero fucks about it. And, I'm just ready to fight. My pay is not changing. Nothing is changing, and I have the same opponent. And like I said, it's another fight at my butt that they put us in the prelims. But, I'm just looking at this to go and fight, make it a slugfest.
Yeah, I think it will definitely be a slugfest, and I'm sure it will be a fan favorite no matter if it's on the preliminaries or if it ends up somehow on the main card. Tough loss to Sanchez for you. Always, when you look back, you think about some things you would have done differently. What are your thoughts about that?
I think my thoughts. It was on my bad day. He was on his good day. I'm happy that I have that loss on my record. I'm one of the fighters that I don't dwell too much on the losses. I move on too fast. But there's a few things I learned from that fight, and that's why I'm training this hard for this fight. But, I thought the judges kind of got it wrong at first, because in my head it was a draw. But no one cares what you think. So I just had to move on and just, fight. I've been asking them to fight for a long time, and, they finally gave me fight for August, so I couldn't be happier.
Good for you. I've read in the past that you've talked about going up a weight class. Are you still thinking about that moving forward?
Yes. I want to go up to 55. There's few people at 55 that would be perfect matchup for me. Let's see how this fight goes. Let's see. Hopefully we don't have any broken bones or we don't have to do any surgeries. And we'll get back on that horse and they can keep me busy, one more time this year. And I'm willing to fight at 55 and 45, and I've been fighting all the tough guys they give me since the beginning, and I have no problem moving up to 55.
I read that James Gallagher has kind of been busting your butt there a little bit to fight. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he just learning all this stuff from Connor, and he's trying to bring it to the Bellator, but Bellator is not like UFC. This is a little different. So, of course, Bellator is going to protect them. They're using it for the Island show, so they give him all these champs. First he fights Machida, which I think is way, not at the level he should be, and now he's fighting this another kid. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and talk about this little kid, but if hopefully they'll give it to me or they give it to someone else. I just want to see him fight real fighters, and that's my opinion about him. Just can't stand the kid.
How did you get the name Insane?
It came from my mother, because I used to be very, very, very hyper, and I used to just run and hit my head on the walls and break the walls, do all kinds of crazy stuff. So my mother used to call me Insane in Armenian because,
right.
I probably had a little ADD. I was a real hyper kid. So when I started fighting, they asked me if I had any nicknames, and I mentioned that, and since then they stick with me. So that's where they got it from.
Yeah. It fits you well. I think it's a good nickname for you, especially in the fighting game. I think it's a plus. I think your mom should be proud she gave you that name. Speaking of Insane, I was scouring Facebook a couple months ago, and I found this brewing company, a picture from something called Polymath, where they created a special blend in your honor called George the Insane. It's a brew. How did that all come about?
Yeah, a friend of mine, he has a brewing company in Riverside, and he called me one day. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I make a beer under your name?" And I was like, "Sure, man. Make sure it's strong." I'm a big beer fan. Like, when I'm not in the camp, I like to enjoy a lot of different types of beer. So, he invited me to his brewing place. I tried it, and I liked the beer a lot, and I was happy they made something under my name, and unfortunately the beer is all gone. They're all, but yeah, it was a cool thing they did.
Well, maybe he should come out with another brew in right before this fight. By the way, that might be a good idea. We'll have to send a shout out to him and see if he'll do that for the fans over in California. Not sure many people remember, but you actually have a win in boxing when you made your promotional debut against Tatsuri Eri on May 5th, 2012 at welterweight. So I got to ask you, Conor McGregor has jumped over to boxing. What about you?
Yeah, I fought boxing. I was just doing it to get my hands better, but boxing is a different world. I don't want to be a professional boxer. That's a sport you gotta respect. It's a different level from MMA. The stand-up is way different than MMA. These guys, that's all they do. They work on their stand-up. But
okay, good to know. Now, I got some video of you with the Deftones. Looked like a good time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Deftones was a cool, great experience. I went there with Matt. He works with Janus Sports Management, and he knew I was a big fan of Deftones, and we get to hang out with them at their tour bus, and got to meet all the band, and I had a privilege to watch them from the back in the backstage, and it was one of the greatest experiences. I've been a Deftones fan since I was probably 17, and it was something. It was a great experience. I never thought I would ever meet them, and I got to hang out with them, and had a great time.
Good for you. Before we go today, Georgi, anything else you want to add? Thank your sponsors, and also, can you give our Must Love MMA fans your social media handle, please?
Yeah, my social media is Twitter and Instagram is at Georgi MMA. Sponsor-wise, I would like to give a shout-out to Flavor X, of course, always taking care of me, and, they provide me with the best CBD products, and of course, my management, Janus Sports, and thank you for interviewing me, Suzanne.
You're welcome, Georgi. Hey, Must Love MMA fans, you can find out more about Georgi on his website as well. That's GeorgiMMA.com. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Susan Cingari and on Instagram at Susan Cingari MMA. Bellator 182 goes down live and free on Spike on Friday, August 25th. Georgi, I wish you good luck. and I can't wait to see the fight.
Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it.